a 30-minute training session for BadgerLink on NoveList K8. And my name is Jason High. I'm an engagement manager with EBSCO Information Services. And I work with libraries throughout the country to provide training and optimization of resources. And today we're going to be talking about a resource that you get through the state, through BadgerLink. So this is accessible to everybody in Wisconsin to use, and that's NoveList K8. And first of all, that's me. Again, my name is Jason, and I'll be walking you through this. And you can also reach out to me if you have any other training needs in the future. We do lots of webinars like this one, but also ones working directly with libraries. And this is what we'll be talking about. Some of the text on my slides became very tiny when I uploaded it here into Google Slides, so sorry about that. But we're going to be taking a look at these functions. So by the end of this session today, you'll know how and where to go to access NoveList, and then how to use it to, you'll know about some of the basic content that's available there. You'll know how to perform searches to find information about books that readers will love, searching by different methods. You'll learn how to refine searches and also share results, whether that's printing them out or emailing or other methods. And we'll talk about some of the support resources that are available in the NoveList Support Center, as well as in EBSCO Connect, which is our kind of main support page for all things EBSCO. I'll just start off with a little bit of an introduction, and then we'll do a live demonstration of lots of these different functions. So one of the, of course, or I should say the chief reason that people say they come to the library in a recent Pew Research survey is to borrow books. And so NoveList is a tool that can help you connect readers with books, help readers find them themselves. So one thing, that's the purpose here is either somebody has a book in mind and maybe that book's not available. It could be the library doesn't own it. It could be it's checked out or missing, or perhaps it's a physical book and they can't access your physical collection right now. So NoveList can provide a way to offer read-alikes, similar books, based on lots of different criteria. So the idea is nobody leaves the library or an interaction with the library without finding a book that they're going to love, even if it's not the one that they came in initially looking for, or maybe they weren't looking for something specific. I want to search for certain books by a certain kind of author that is like them, that they can identify with, or lots of other kind of criteria. And just to kind of point out, there's NoveList and then there's NoveList Plus, and you have access to both. We're going to be focusing, I'm sorry, let me correct that. You don't have access to NoveList Plus, just NoveList. So, what that adds is nonfiction and audiobooks. But if you're looking in support documentation or other libraries' sites to get ideas, you might see mention of NoveList Plus. So that's kind of the difference. And this just lays out with lots of colorful dots the difference in feature set. So we're talking, again, we're focusing on NoveList K8. So the difference is it excludes the books for adult readers. So that's an important distinction to know about. You do have access to both NoveList and NoveList K8. The difference in K8 is just not the adult level titles. So younger readers can use it themselves, or parents of younger readers, or school librarians, what have you. Now I'm going to come back to these slides later on. These are just to kind of highlight some of the key functions. So I've opened up the Badger link page here, and you can just go to all resources. You may have a link set up on your library's website, but you can also come here and find it. I'll go to the ends, and there's a link to NoveList, and there's NoveList K8. So you can just follow that link. It will then use, prompt for authentication, whatever method that might be. In my case, I've already gone through that step, but it may, it could ask for a patron ID, or, if you live in Wisconsin, it can ask you for your zip code in order to be able to access this. So it is remotely accessible from any web-connected computer. And so now I'm in NoveList K8, as you see by the logo up in the upper left there. So let me just talk a little bit about what we're seeing on the home page here. There's a search box up at the top, and it's just a basic search. You can search by keyword or describe a plot. You can also choose title, author, or series, or not. You can always just type in a search, and there are sophisticated search options available in advanced search, or you can use field codes if you know those. And there is actually a reference I'll point out later that talks about some of those advanced search tips for librarians especially. But I can do a search here. There's also options to kind of browse through some carousels down below, and these are mixing together what are called appeal factors or appeal terms. And you'll see there's a tab across the top to choose, either are we talking about teens, ages 9 through 12, or ages 0 through 8. So here's where there's a difference with the main kind of version of NoveList that has also an adult tab here. And even though it's called K8, we consider it for teens because there may be, middle school or even younger readers that are reading at a higher level, so they may be wanting to read teen level materials, for example, but it doesn't include adult level and adult type themes and things like that. So, there's this mixer, and I can click on these tabs to see some different titles, and if I mouse over it, it gives me a little preview, and I can click into that, of course, to find the full details, which I'll do in a moment. Just continuing on, there's also different genres that you can explore for different age groups. And you may be very familiar with a certain genre and not familiar with others. So you can explore those. And then we highlight different award winners. There's a Working with Youth section, which we'll look at a little bit later on. There's a highlighted topic, of course, what's on everybody's mind these days. And I'll just click into this section on navigating COVID-19. This takes me into the NoveList support site. It's ebscohost.com/something NoveList, and there's different addresses there. But there's a lot of great material here I want you to know about. And there's a blog post very recent on pivoting to online summer reading program. And these are written either by NoveList staff or sometimes by librarians practicing in libraries throughout the country or throughout the world, in fact. So, I'll come back to this too, but there's a lot of great material there. I encourage you to check it out. And there's, recommended read lists that group together some books based on, if you're a fan of this, check out that, you can kind of explore those too and see some of the lists that are put together. So one thing I should say about NoveList that you should know is doesn't have the books themselves in NoveList. It has information about the books. So let's look at a book. Let's run a search here. So let's say Watership Down. And you'll see as I type, it will pull up matches of titles. So here I'm looking for a title. So maybe somebody comes to the reference desk and says, I love this book, or I loved reading this book when I was a child, and I want, my child has read this book and wants to find others that are like it. So I just ran the search, and when I come back with results, you'll see it gives you the list of results below. They're sorted by a relevance ranking. And then it's got tabs in the results here to show me, what are you looking for? Books, of course, but you might be looking for a series. You might be looking for information about authors or lists and articles. And this is some of that original content that's created that might, could be a book discussion, a book club discussion guide, picture book extender, or just an article about reader's advisory and making use of some of the tools. So each result you'll see gives a little summary, title, little information, a little bit of an abstract, series information, Lexile, reading levels, accelerated reader levels if those are included. Not every title has those. And if I click into the title, now I'll see even more details. We highlight if it's an award winner, for example, and that's information's down below. And then there's appeal terms. So there's the genre that it falls under. And then there's themes. Themes are something relatively new to NoveList. Maybe about a year or so they've been in the tool. And there's different ones for different age groups. This one falls under the For the Resistance theme. So if that's something that resonates with a reader, you can explore others that fall under that theme too. There's also the appeal terms on, what type of characters are they? Well, anthropomorphic, there's your rabbits. What's the storyline like? What's the tone? What's the writing style? And then other things like, matching up to appropriate grade levels, again, the Lexile and accelerated reader indicators. There's a persistent link. So if you wanted to link back to this page, this is what you want to use. You don't want to use the address up here in your browser because that's not actually going to take you back there. And, there's details below, reviews, more information about the book, lists and articles, which would have what awards it's won and any lists that it's on, like classic adventure fiction for teens. And you can also then search for more. So this would be able to take those appeal factors and run a new search. Like, for example, maybe you're really interested in books about rabbits. So you can search by that, or, some of these other appeal factors. So these would be the subjects, for example. And the right-hand column has the read-alikes. So these are books that are going to be similar, and it says why is it listed as a read-alike and who actually made the suggestion as well, and you can give feedback on that. You can also add things to a folder. So this is a function of NoveList itself. There's add to folder. Wherever you see that option, you can build a list of items. So here's my folder in the upper right. And then from there, I can share it. So maybe somebody asks you for some recommendations, and that would actually allow you to build a list as you go. I could, add the Watership Down book to it, and we'll come back to that. It's a temporary list. In other words, if I'm, unless I sign into a personal account, I will lose that list if I close the window or close my browser. So there is an ability to save things more permanently into the cloud and be able to pick up and access it later. That's where the sign in option shows up here. And also, just like if you wanted to quickly, you could say, well, here's a list of all the read-alikes. I can click view all, and there they are, and it's just easy to print off. Now, I mean, printing's not really as important right now as it maybe usually is, but you could print it to a PDF and then email that, for example. Or again, you can put it in the folder and then share from the folder that way. So I've kind of shown you the basics of searching for a book, finding the book, looking at the read-alikes, sharing out those. Now, sometimes you're looking for a series. So let me show you what that, it looks a little bit different, but fundamentally is the same in terms of what it does. So Harry Potter, for example, and again, I get these suggestions so I can select there or just go ahead and run the search. And because, again, it doesn't know what I'm looking for, so I want to specify I'm looking for the series. And, there's, the illustrated series, there might be different ones there. I'm looking for the original series. And then on that page, I'll see the series, similar kind of details as books here, along with the appeal terms. But it's also useful to be able to see here are all the books in the series in the order, and then you can easily share that, print it, add these items to a folder and share from there. Here's series read-alikes now. So if you want to find other series that are similar, here's a way to kind of chase that down. Of course, if I go look at an author, then I will get author read-alikes. So if I like J.K. Rowling and I've read everything that she's written, maybe I want to explore some other authors, and they can be added to a folder too. All right, let's talk about another kind of search you can run. So I'm going to run a new search. So sometimes you have somebody asks, okay, I read this book when I was in 6th grade, and all I remember about it is it was cold, there was a lot of snow, and there were these children that were trying to hide some gold from Nazis somewhere. I don't know, it was in Europe somewhere. And that's all you've got. So you could literally just type in a description, like some of the keywords from that. So Nazis, snow, and gold. And maybe they remember the cover, the color of the cover, right? That's another thing. And here it is. So this is in fact the book, Snow Treasure. Okay, yes, that's it. Yes, I remember now. Marie McSwiggan, Snow Treasure. So it's a way, yet another tool, if you don't know every single book out there, and who does, to be able to identify ones. And then, of course, there's the title itself, there's read-alikes, etc. Everything you've seen so far that comes along with it. And then, you could go look it up in the catalog and find a copy of it that way. Another thing I'll show you too, I've just been doing basic searching here. Advanced search, you can also take advantage. You can go straight there, or you could type in a query and then, let's say I'm looking for books about robots. So I can run a search, and then I can go to advanced search and refine it, and it remembers my search term. I can also use limiters like over here to limit to different age groups, maybe ages 9 through 12, date, and then, things like genre, theme, all the appeal terms. Does it have illustrations or not? Where is it located, the story? So these are all things that can help narrow your search. Let me show you the advanced search too. And let me make this a little bit bigger because I know the text is pretty small here. So when I go to advanced search, I have a lot of other choices. So I can actually narrow by different things, maybe award winners or books that are forthcoming. And in fact, you could even set up an alert to be notified using that personal account when new titles are being published, like the next book in a series, perhaps. Things like Lexile range, age groups, accelerated reader, author's nationality, gender identity, and cultural identity. Those can also be pretty powerful to search by certain qualities of an author. What's their identity, and find books that match up to the identity of the person that's interested in reading about them. So lots of power there under advanced search. And the folder, let me just go there now since I've been talking about it. So I've added a couple of books here. And then from here, it's really easy to just select them and then print or email or save. And I'm not signed in yet. If I, so I haven't signed into a personal account, I can still do this. If I want to keep this list and continue to add to it or build other lists or take advantage of some of the other features available here, I would sign in. And that takes me to a page that asks me to sign into an EBSCO host account. If you already have one, you don't have to create another one. You can use the same one. It works with lots of other EBSCO databases and products too. But you can also create one here, and you can actually even use Google if you have a Google username and password instead of creating a new one, for example. So there's, I encourage you, especially as library people, to check that personal account feature out. Right. So coming back here to the home page, let's look at one of these reading lists here. So, things like adventure stories, spy stories, boy adventures, girl adventures, all kinds of lives, different kinds of identities. This might be interesting. Homeschoolers' lives. Well, who isn't? Well, most people homeschooling right now anyway, or perhaps getting close to the end of the school year. But these are pre-built lists where somebody kind of knows who it says who the contributor is to, and you can find out about them. So lots of these kind of pre-mixed lists that you can use for display ideas or programs in summer reading, for example. And you can see there's all kinds of these here to explore. And if you don't know a certain genre, maybe you can get some help here. Actually, I do want to mention too, you can do your own appeal mix searches. So you can do one from a book and then select certain appeals and run a search. But this also lets you come in and then you choose the tab for the age group and then select what is the appeal term. Then you'd be able to select, so the character is, what types of characters are you interested in? There we go. And it gives you some numbers there. So what are those qualities? And then find the titles that match those. So that's right from the home page, this make your own appeal mix. And there's my results. Some other things you can do on the menu at the top, the header at the top, there's browse by, genre, appeal, and award winners. So genres, maybe you want to explore those. Someone might come up and say, I like Western horror. Okay, I don't know anything about that. So this lets you come and see, and you can check out, what's new and popular in, and then there's different ones for different age groups. So here's some of those, and here's all the different teen genres if you want to learn more about those. There's also a way to browse by appeal and a browse by award winners. It's kind of similar to this. There's a section here that are especially for working with youth. And the main novelist also has another one here that's especially for readers advisory in general. But here we've got featured content for working with different age groups, articles and book lists and things. More information about, programming perhaps. So there's articles about summer reading programs, some ideas from other libraries and librarians. So it's in addition to the information about the books, there's lots of these original articles that are pretty useful. I encourage you to explore those. And then there's some quick links to some of these book display ideas, get some help with. Books to movies, so connections to popular culture. Curricular connections as well, which these have activities either geared around either certain books or maybe things like information literacy. Genre outlines, again, they kind of explore different genres and some of the popular titles in them. And grab and go book lists. So these are some of those pre-mixed lists for different purposes. So maybe supporting STEAM education in schools. Lots there. And then finally, there's how do I, and this just has some common tasks. So if you're kind of wanting to get a refresher on, finding read likes, getting alerted when there's new content, sharing results, these have some quick links out. And there's also this learn to use NoveList. So as we're getting to the end of our 30 minutes here, this goes into the help file. And, this actually pulls up a link to this idea center, the support site, YouTube channel for videos, newsletters you can sign up for, just a ton of material here. And the idea center has lots of different sections here. So if you're wanting to learn more about NoveList, there's the information about those story elements. In fact, there's a little booklet, The Secret Language of Books, that talks about how to use some of these in Reader's Advisory. Some tutorials, other webinars, live and recorded, that we do that dig into different aspects of NoveList. And then there's some tips for newbies, other, guides, as well as guides for advanced users like hidden gems or features, advanced searching with field codes. So there's a lot of material here. And then there's also, we have EBSCO Connect, where you can actually go, this is for everything, not just NoveList, whereas the other page I was showing you is kind of more specialized. But there's a lot of material here, including promotion kits that have logos and graphics and bookmarks and flyers and such. And there is also, on the Badger Link page, lots of resources here, training like this session we're doing today, as well as recordings of past sessions, some promotional materials, some outreach materials under Get the Word Out, for lots of things, not just EBSCO, but there's some NoveList flyer, for example, that's been customized with some Badger Link information. So check all that out. Lots of great tools here to support you. NoveList is a really fun product, a really fun tool that you can use for yourself. I encourage you to do it. You'll find things you might not have expected, and that's the best way to kind of learn it and reinforce what we've talked about here today.